lunch will be served after my presentation. So, no questions. We'll go quickly. No, I'm just kidding. Great. So, FreeMind helps companies win grants, right? We go through a very methodical approach. I'm not going to go into any detail right now, but the point is that we're constantly innovating. We're constantly thinking of ways to improve the offering. And the next step, and the most logical next step, is AI. Thank you. Great. So what I'm going to share with you today is the advances that we've made in this suite of tools, AI tools. That they're there to support the preparation of grants. That's the bottom line. So according to Harvard Business Review, they claim that AI will not replace humans, but rather humans with AI will replace humans without AI. We're not concerned for the profession or any other profession. AI is here to stay. It is everywhere. Every single profession is thinking, oh gosh, what are we going to do about AI? It's going to take our jobs, but that's not reality. In reality, history has shown us that every incremental improvement or every even revolutionary improvement just creates more jobs, creates more value, and that's what I'm going to show you here, exactly how we're going to take advantage of that. So what are we doing? First of all, we want to take advantage of this revolution. It's definitely one of the most, or the most exciting thing that happened this year. And the idea is to propel grant writing support to all new heights. However, and here's the problem, since AI exploded into our lives, there are some concerns. First of all, security. You don't know what data sources are used in the response that you get from the prompt that you stick into ChatGPT. You have no clue if it is correct. And the output accuracy also remains a challenge. So what we're doing is, or what we wanted to do, is create a dedicated system that was trained on our data set and that is secure. And one of the main feedback we got from experts that we spoke to and brought on board to help us with this endeavor is that publicly accessible large language models, LLMs, are not secure. And I cannot stress this enough. If you put in your textual description, IP, confidentiality in ChatGPT, it may end up elsewhere. All of our experts have told us this, and also clients that we surveyed say they really, really rather we don't do that. We never did. We prevented anyone from using ChatGPT or any other, Bard or any of those, until we did the following. So the first thing we did was build a 100% secure, closed system, Gen AI system, that is used internally. Right now, it's only internal facing. Actually, all the tools I'm going to show you are internal facing. Maybe one day we'll set them free, but for now, it's for our own internal use. Completely protects IP, confidentiality, and all the queries remain inside the closed system. And it uses GPT-4, it uses Bard, it uses a number of other tools, such as uploading documents, Excel files, really very nice tools that we started to use internally. So this is the day-to-day, the ongoing, I just need something, and stick it in there and get a reply. However, the tools I want to show you are a little more complex than that. The number one reason, and we know this, we talk to companies all the time. I'm in the business side, I talk to companies, I meet them, yes, we're going to do it. I meet them a year later, shoot, we didn't do it. Okay, the number one reason companies do not submit grants is bandwidth. It's tedious, it takes time, it takes an effort. And we're going to try, using these tools that I'm going to show you right now, shift the burden as much as we can. As a rule of thumb, we're always saying we do as much as we can for our client. However, it's a joint process. We cannot write science out of thin air. So we're trying right now to shift that burden from the client side more as much as we can to our side. So, suite of tools. I'll show you the first ones that we've deployed. The idea is to support the entire preparation of applications, A to Z solution for each line item. First and foremost, strategy. That's, believe it or not, one of the easier programs. Why? It's all in the public domain. There are no secrets. Okay, you go to the NH website, you search any information available in the public domain. We have access to that. So the first thing is identification of, well, first of all, defining pipeline projects, identification of funding opportunities, ranking those funding opportunities, and I'll show you that shortly. And of course, devising a granting strategy. Second, every item in the application, we'll create a dedicated tool for each one of those, helping us prepare. And finally, and this is one of the more exciting ones, I think, is a question of validation. And what do I mean by that? We took roughly 5,000 submissions internally, great large data set, and trained this large language model, essentially knowing what worked, what didn't work, and corresponding reviews, of course, and corresponding scores. Okay, so theoretically, we already have folks working on this, and we know it's going to work, is that we take a finalized product and ask it, hey, is this a good final product? And that's the validation I'm talking about. And when we do this, we can find potential pitfalls. We can correct those pitfalls before submission. If a company maybe submitted or wants to submit something, and we could stick it in there and see what the anticipated result will be. And that's something that's a little more forward-thinking, but something we're definitely working on. So this is just an example of the list of items that we're going to address. For example, I mentioned devising a granting strategy. Research approach, that's the heart of the application. It is broken down into various bits, so addressing the significance, the innovation, helping write the specific aims, and so on. Biosketches, the CV, each key person, each personnel has to show. I'm going to show you how that's going to work. That's actually really cool. Aims, budget justification. You take an Excel, you take a finalized budget, you put it in there, and you get the justification out the other end, as an example. And resource, and once again, I'm not going to go into all of these, and so on and so forth. Once again, every single item, including for non-NIH, so BARDA programs, Department of Defense, CDMRPs, all of those. So we're going to address the full list. But I think if anything, this is really the take-home message. Sure, we're going to use AI. We're going to generate text. We've trained, while created by large language models, has to be validated by professionals. ChatGPT spews out a lot of nonsense, okay? You've all seen it. I'm sure you've all played around with it. Every single word that it will be written in the application will be validated by our professionals, and that's key to understand. So the first three tools I'll share with you, and we've already deployed them to an extent. First one is search. Identification of funding opportunities with a corresponding rank for each funding opportunity. Biosketches, really cool. I'll show you that. With a click of a button, we can create a biosketch. And finally, various documents, specific aims, abstract, and the project narrative. So first and foremost, we're going to let AI search for funding opportunities. The sources that we use are the World Wide Web that has all the information there available, our own data set that data set knows that this type of title program use this type of funding opportunity, this is the funding level, etc. NIH website, of course, searching for funding opportunities. We upload a project table, maybe summarizing that, what projects we want to use. And actually also interesting, the NIH reporter, we will reverse engineer, so we can look at what was awarded and then say, okay, that award used that solicitation. And all of this feeds into the AI and generates the initial list of funding opportunities with a rank. So that rank, we know, if it's a 90% fit, that's a good rank. And finally, we'll create a granting strategy that will be validated by our professionals. So here, this is what it looks like. Start a new search. We upload a project. This is an example. It could be free text as well. Pipeline project number 1 is a novel CAR T therapy for, I don't know, oncology something or other. But here in this case, I'll show you that we upload a project table that summarizes the various pipeline projects. It's just an example. It's random. We generated. It's not a real project table. And then finally, we get the list of pipeline projects, which we can edit, make sure that it is correct, that the wording is correct, because remember the AI generated this based on what we uploaded, and save it, make some changes, and finally, rerun the search. Works for a few seconds and starts and provides a list of funding opportunities for each pipeline project. Once again, these are just examples. So here you can see on the top, on the left-hand side, you can see the rank is 90%. If you click on it, it explains to you why is it 90%, why would it be 10%, and so on. And finally, we download the list of funding opportunities. Our strategists, of course, review this, make sure it's correct, and then they generate the granting strategy. By the way, that's done in our shared workspace through Microsoft SharePoint, so the client can see the Gantt chart, what exactly we're going to submit at what time point. It's all digitized. Great. So building a biosketch. Building a biosketch, we know, takes a couple of hours. Why? First of all, what are the sources? The sources are CV that we request from our clients, PubMed, list of publications. We can look on LinkedIn to see when they started the different positions, the patents, list of patents, and anything on the web. For example, it could be a website where the individual is listed. Roughly 50% of the effort in these 2 hours goes to the contribution to science. Why? Because you have to take publications, 5, maybe 10 different publications, and condense it into a summary that describes why this individual or what this individual has done for the sake of humanity. It takes time. Same for their personal statement. What is their role in the grant? What will they do on the grant? And then there's a lot of copy pasting, yada yada, and that once again takes a couple of hours. We think, or we know rather, that using these sources, we can bring that down to a good 5-10 minutes. Think about that. How does it look? We start with LinkedIn. Okay, that's just an example with one of our client strategists. Plug in their name on LinkedIn, find them. By the way, if there are many John Smiths, Smithai? Smith? No. You can select the correct one and add them to the list. Add their CV as well. See it like that. And then the AI identifies all their publications within PubMed. Maybe if they have some patents, you can select the relevant publications. Maybe some publications are not relevant. Maybe they're too old. Maybe we'll select the very new ones as an example. And then magic. We get the initial biosketch. This can be edited on the right-hand side, or, and this is the fun part, we can use prompts. What does that look like? Let's say we read the personal statement, we think, well, maybe it requires a little bit of massaging. So we can ask the AI to rewrite the personal statement to better emphasize maybe the significance of the individual's contribution to science and how it's related to the program that they're working on. So we use the prompt, generates it again, and we get a new personal statement. Of course, we validate it, we read it, make sure it's correct, and we download, and that's the outcome. 2 hours down to 5 to 10 minutes. Exciting stuff. Next, creating aims and abstract and narrative out of the research approach. Today, what we do is we finish the research approach towards the end of the process before submission. We take the research approach, narrow it down, break it up, fold it, and we turn it into a one-page specific aim document, which, as anyone who's ever done an NIH program knows, that is required. Then change the specific aims into an abstract, and then the abstract, a 30-line abstract, and then the abstract turns into a project narrative, short and sweet, and that's what's submitted. This process takes about 4 to 5 hours. What we're doing here with the AI is reducing it to, I would say, about 30 minutes, because it does require reading it and making sure it's correct. So here's an example. A new project, we drop in the research approach. Looks like that. Click it. Takes a few seconds, and out the other end comes specific aims, abstract, and narrative. Of course, we can make edits, make sure it's correct, and the fun part here, similar to the biosketch, is that we can use prompts. We can say, well, why don't you go ahead and rewrite the abstract, maybe to put more emphasis on the significance and how this project is going to solve humanity's ailments. So we add that and let it run again, and we get the updated abstract. Once again, requires validation on our side. Great. So just to summarize for you, we started, is that the end of the, never mind. In summary, we started with a secure ChatGPT that we use regularly. It's a closed system, completely confidential, IP is protected, and it's, like I said, for internal use only. Second is searching for funding opportunities. We use whatever's out there in the public domain and identify the funding opportunities with a rank, which helps us prioritize. We trained an LLM, a large language model, on our data set and are creating tools, specific AI tools for each line item in the application. And finally, we're going to use that to predict potential outcome. Now, of course, that's not foolproof. It just gives you, at the end of the day, I'm sure you all know, large language models are pure statistics. It's what is the most probable next word, right? So this is also statistics. What is the probability that what we wrote here will score well following the review process based on those 5,000 submissions that we did, we showed it earlier. And I'll end with this quote. In a world where ChatGPT and other AI apps can do many things that humans once needed to do themselves or needed to hire humans to do, the question of how will I add value becomes more relevant than ever. And that is what drives us and has been driving us year over year over year. Every time we think, what can we do better? How can we provide more value? And this is definitely something that is revolutionizing, I think, the world, and definitely is impacting our profession, and we're loving it. It's really going to add, like I said, a lot of value. We think we can provide output much faster. We can help companies focus on the heart of the application, which is the research approach, and not read through publications and what have you. We think we can do more. Remember, I told you the number one reason organizations do not submit is because of bandwidth. So we think that using these tools, we can have companies submit more applications. More applications always means, statistically speaking, more awards. And that's really what we're trying to do. This year, we're fortunate to help companies win roughly $100 million. It's been a great year. I don't think there are many VCs that can say they helped infuse $100 million into the ecosystem, so we're super proud of that and very proud of our clients. Today you heard 5 of those, or you've heard 3, excuse me, and you see these are all great companies. That is it. Thank you very much. Lunch is served.